Well, we'll take a quick look at how global markets are doing in early trade today, as well as how they closed last week. Well, US markets finished in a bit of a rush last week. Good flurry for the markets to close the week off. They rallied largely led by tech stocks. That's a surprise as well, given the increasing interest rate environment. The Dow was up over 1.5% in early trade, or rather in trade on Friday. And that is the best day the Dow has seen since December the 6th. The S&P 500 too closed almost 2.5% higher, the largest gains it has seen in a day since June of 2020. And the Nasdaq was up over 3% in trade as well on Friday, reversing all of those losses that were there through the week. So the Nasdaq was absolutely flat, while the Dow and the S&P actually had gains for the entire week when we look at it consolidated. Europe was a slightly different story. Well, European markets closed lower and quite sharply lower in the sense that the DAX, FTSE as well as the Stock 600 were lower over 1% in trade on Friday, but Europe's had a very different sort of a week as well. So no surprises per se as to how European markets are looking. And when we look at how the US markets are looking in early trade today in terms of their futures, well, all three major US stock futures are looking marginally in the green. In fact, they are absolutely flat, but trading with a slightly positive bias, up from 5 to 12 basis points, with the Nasdaq futures up around 0.1% in early trade today. When we look at how Asia closed on Friday, it was an absolutely mixed day of trade for Asia on Friday. That's exactly how it's opened up in early trade today as well, with the Nikkei as well as the Kospi up around 1% or just over 1%. In fact, the Kospi is up almost 2% in early trade today. The Hang Seng is up also nearly 1% in early trade today, while the Shanghai is down almost 1% and the ASX 200 is down around 0.25%. So absolutely mixed trade early this week, starting off on this Monday morning. When we look at the SGX Nifty as well, that's looking up over 1% as well. That's good cues for Indian markets when we look at it. In terms of how commodities are looking, well, oil is just going from strength to strength. It's currently at $88 a barrel in early trade this Monday, with Brent breaching that $91 a barrel mark. It's at 91 and a third of a dollar as we speak. Well, gold is looking more tempered after last week's Federal Reserve announcements. Gold is just below that $1,790 an ounce mark and thereabouts. That's exactly where we left it late last week as well. In terms of the US dollar index, well, that continues to gain well. It's well above the 97 mark and it's holding out very smartly there. And that's, of course, largely due to the way in which the yields are reacting. The US 10-year yield is just below that 1.8% mark. Mind you, it had gone to 1.88% last week at certain points of time. But currently, it's just below that 1.8% mark and it's holding out over there through late last week all the way into this week as well. So broadly, it's a good looking market at the moment, especially looking at India, given the SGX Nifty is up. In terms of Bitcoin, well, it's just below the 37,000 US dollar mark as we speak. It's down 3% in early trade today. That's a roundup of how markets are looking in early trade this Monday morning.